Mulțumesc, Laura. With your permission, I will switch to English, also considering our foreign guests. First of all, I'd like to congratulate the organizers for initiating such an event. I know it's not the first edition, but I'm happy to see in the room so many familiar faces, experts, clients, collaborators, which obviously it's a sign that PPA, it's a very relevant topic, increasing as importance in Romania. Last year, I heard that we were talking about 6 PPAs in Romania. We saw it in the first panel that we're now talking about 10 PPAs. So obviously the trend is good. Within this realm, yes, I'd like to say a few words about the CFD, the current CFD scheme in Romania. But before going into the details of my presentation, I would like to say a few words about Vlăsceanu Partners. We're a law firm specialized in energy, all types of energy, but with a focus on the so-blamed fossil energy as well, but also in the latest years on renewable energy, covering basically the whole chain of legal activities in the renewable field, PPA included, and currently CFD. And I would also like to share with you that we've recently celebrated last year 8 years since the beginning of our journey, and for that I'd like to say congratulations to my colleagues present here in the room. With that being said, let's move to the presentation and say a few words about the CFD scheme. We heard this is a very hot topic now. We heard it also in the first panel. It's a little bit sensitive, let's say, the fact that I'm talking today about the CFD. Details with tomorrow conference organized by the ministry, which aims to clarify some of the, let's say, elements of the current scheme. But what is clear so far is that the first CFD scheme launched on the 6th of September relates to 1,500 megawatts, which is split between 1,000 megawatts for onshore wind, 500 megawatts for PV. Quite frankly, I would have preferred to see larger figures, but it's understandable considering that this is the very first auction. Also, the maximum strike prices. We have heard previously higher prices. Somebody was telling me in the break. We were talking earlier in the year about 93 euros per megawatt hour. Now we're talking about 82 and 78 for PV. Well, it's obviously the market trend, and it's good that the maximum strike prices are following the market trend. Of course, we're looking at projects above 5 megawatts, and there is a calendar already put forward by the ministry. I think it's a very challenging calendar with all the steps of the scheme. But out of all these steps, I think the most relevant now is the 18th of November, when the CFD applications will have to be filed. Of course, the diligent investors, the diligent bidders have already started preparing their files. And I can also say that I heard in the room that there are interested bidders that realize that they do not have time now to prepare for this call, but the next call will be soon open. This is what it was announced by the ministry, and they are already preparing for the second auction, which will have to cover the difference, because initially it was announced that we will have 5,000 megawatts supported through the CFD scheme. So very likely at the beginning of next year, or in the first half of next year, I understood that there will be a second auction. What is the market perspective, and how appealing is this scheme? We already heard even in this panel, some concerns about the CFD scheme. I can share that our clients are also, some of them are concerned. At the same time, I can say that the impression is that the current CFD scheme, as it is currently designed, favors the large projects. And even it is mentioned within the scheme itself that in case of parity, projects with higher capacity are favorized. What are some of the, let's say, sensitive topics that are of concern for the potential bidders and also for the financing institutions, of course? So there is a right of termination for convenience for the CFD party, which may be implemented upon the request of the Ministry of Energy. Of course, a prior notice must be given, and it is also included a compensation mechanism for terminating such CFD. Now, the compensation is calculated according to a formula, but whoever really understands the formula, how this is built, one can understand that the formula looks at the historical prices, whereas the CFD mechanism is designed specifically to cover against future risk, future volatility. Yeah, it's important to mention that the electricity must be sold on centralized markets, and there is also a mechanism of adjusting the strike price in case of legislative changes, which is, I think, a very, very good element to be highlighted here. And of course, there is the strike price indexation concern, which can only take place no sooner than 3 years, and only if the consumer price index exceeds by more than 10% the last CPI index considered, let's say, at the signing or at the very last indexation. Some other relevant aspects for the CFDs, what I just tried to put forward some practical questions or concerns already raised by our clients. There is, of course, there are the general requirements regarding the participation guarantee and later on the good performance guarantee, but there is a requirement to provide a comfort letter along with the technical offer. So when submitting the application, a comfort letter must be attached to the technical offer. We all know that obtaining such comfort letter, if we are to go, let's say, in a classic process, with this very challenging timeline, it's difficult to be obtained. And it's good that the scheme provides the alternative of being able to offer a corporate approval, which very likely most of the bidders will choose. There is, I hope tomorrow it will be clarified also the requirement regarding the commencement date, which needs to, of course, comply with the start of works principle. There are 2 dates there, and those need to be clarified as well. Where we have received questions as to what the new project means, because it's, at least to us, unclear what is the regime of the projects that are to be commissioned between the period of submission the application and the signing of the agreement. I will not, yeah, of course, and there is the concern with the 20% quota in case that there is a consortium, and it's very good that it is possible to participate with the consortium format, let's say, but I think it also should be clarified what the 20% quota should be allocated to. So the consortium leader must have a minimum 20% quota, and it's not fully clear what the 20% quota is. I don't want to be too technical with this. I will be here also for the break. If there's more questions on the CFD scheme, I'd love to answer them, but I also think tomorrow's session organized by the Ministry of Energy will clarify some of the uncertainties.